tradition and culture, this is exactly what I wrote too. Tradition and culture is not my thing. And I have a problem with understanding things that like people will just do. Like, here's a good one. Church service, right? I'll go into church and I am just so confused as to what the fuck's happening. Like, I don't understand the sacraments. I don't understand, the eating from his body where it's like the bread and the wine. Like, I understand them from the Bible, but like, it's like, why are we doing that? Because isn't that not, like, shouldn't we just believe on Christ like it said, right? Like, it doesn't, I don't know, those other things don't really make sense to me. And this is sort of what I'm getting at here, is that these things are so foreign to me that, like, why would I make the connection that this is what we should be doing? It just makes no sense, right? It makes no sense. Like, there are things that we culturally do that other cultures would be like, why the fuck would you do that? That's stupid and doesn't make sense. A good one is, like, as much as I hate the Europeans, no offense, anybody from Europe, but you guys really are just the biggest douchebags sometimes. I have no clue why. If you can explain yourselves, go for it. But yeah, like, the Europeans actually kind of got this right, where, like, we probably shouldn't be throwing our eggs in the fridge. Instead, we should be leaving the mucous membrane on them and then just saving them, right? Like, keeping them outside the fridge. But, like, I don't know, there's certain things that we just culturally do. Like, every American has, like, the biggest flat screen you've ever seen, or, like, traditions, right? Like, I do not like traditions. I don't like culture. I don't like, and that's, well, let me go back here. Sometimes culture and tradition just do not make sense in the context of what they're there for, right? Because, like, if the culture is good, then sure. But many a times the culture is just like a culture that's been reproduced over and over and over again, right? So, like, here's a good one, is that the Mayans was sacrifice, right? Like, they would just do that because it's a tradition now. Or, like, the whole thing, I'm going to drop a little esoteric lore here, but, like, Easter, right? Easter was about, I think it was the Babylonians or the Sumerians. They would carve the eggs out of a fucking woman. That's why they're painted in Easter, right? Because obviously the eggs of a woman are going to have blood on them when you fucking carve that out of her. So, yeah, Ishtar, right? Ishtar is where we get the thing Easter. So, yeah, obviously, like, they tried to fill that, to kind of fill over Passover, or, like, the Catholics, whatever. But see, that's my whole point, is that, like, why are we following, the Ishtar tradition, right? Instead of just, like, what we are, what we can be, who we are, instead of just following a dead person's ideology or theology, right? And of course, that's not really going to make sense considering that I'm a Christian, but let me kind of explain myself here. So, it's one of those things where the reasons why I believe in Christianity, I've said a lot of them, but, like, if you have a higher power telling you more about yourself than you know, or, like, crazy shit happening in the sky, or, like I said, Bereshit, Passover prophecy, Yohevavhe, like, all that shit, yeah, it's they're talking about the future, so of course I'm going to believe whatever that tradition is. But, like, when we start making up traditions as people, it's like, oh yeah, I don't know, like, July 4th is like a tradition, and everybody just gets drunk instead of being like, oh yeah, like, we should uphold whatever, right? Like, the traditions and cultures, the cultural connections just are not there for me. I feel like I'm worshiping somebody else's theology, not my own. And I don't mean to say that, like, I am my own theologian, but more so in the sense of, I'm not going to follow the crowd, right? I'm not going to follow what everybody else is doing, because everybody else is just, on their way to hell, like, realistically, right? Like, that's just not, and I'm not, yes, if you believe the gospel, you are not on your way to hell. You know that. You should know that. Hopefully you do know that. But I'm not going to follow a people that don't even know who the fuck they are. That's really my main thing with a lot of these people, is that, like, we're not cut from the same cloth. Like, we are in the sense that we're both sinners, but I am striving for something a little bit like my mind is of the spirit, right? Because God said that. He said that. He said that like you are of the spirit if you believe in Christ. So I'm not gonna revert back to the old ways and be like, oh yeah, Halloween. Like let's do Halloween. Like, sure it's cool to get like a costume on or whatever and be like a helldiver for a day. But, it's not I'm not being like, oh yeah, we need to keep up the tradition because it's whatever. It's just there's like a lot of like cultural things that I just do not follow. And hopefully this makes sense cuz I feel like I'm rambling as I usually do and I feel like I sound like a fucking idiot just like I do every goddamn time. It's mostly because I have nobody to bounce the ideas off of, right? Like if somebody's sitting in front of me, they'll ask me questions and then I can better explain myself. But when I'm trying to explain myself and I already know what I'm saying, how can the system check itself, right? Like how can I check myself? So, yeah, hopefully that made some sense. I might have to like go in and clean up what the fuck's, happening in here.